Hi, welcome to Financial Express Budget 2018 special series. The telecom sector, which was once booming, is now facing strong headwinds due to competition issues, pricing, spectrum issues, and even taxation problems. I have with me Mr. Sandeep Chaufla, who is Partner Tax and Regulatory at PwC, to tell us about the tax issues plaguing the telecom sector right now. Sandeep, so what should be on the top of the telecom sector wish list as far as taxation is concerned?
So Sumit, as you said that this sector which was earlier booming and now going through a very bad time, and we have seen the degrowth in the sector compared to the last years. So tax issues which impact this sector, which has a direct impact on the bottom line, is something which needs to be addressed by the government, is what I believe. And though there are a lot of issues which plague the sector, but I'll take 2-3 common issues which have a direct impact on the bottom line and which are addressable by the government, which is one is that in this sector there are a lot of payments which are made for interconnect charges, bandwidth and roaming, which includes the domestic roaming as well as international roaming. Now, globally, the international roaming and bandwidth charges, these are all payable by one person, but one telco to the other, and these are net of taxes, meaning it's the payer which bears the burden. And my sense is that globally, and particularly in the developed world, these interconnect charges are not subject to any withholding tax in the absence of a permanent establishment of the recipient in the country of the payer. However, in India, the tax authorities, they have taken a position, and many cases they've taken a position that the payments on the interconnect, bandwidth, etc. are either in the nature of a royalty or a technical services fee. Now, the matters have gone to the court. Most of the courts have given the judgment in favor of the taxpayer, though some of the courts have also given the decision in favor of the tax department. The matter is litigious. It may be, it's in some cases it's in the Supreme Court. Now, this directly impacts the telco because since the agreement that he has with the overseas telco is net of tax, so if there is a withholding tax, either treating that as a royalty or technical services, the burden of that is on the telco. So, if this can be clarified in the budget to say that, well, for the telecom sector, this payment will not be considered as a royalty or technical service fee, it will be a big relief to the telco, Indian telco, which will help him, in bringing his bottom line, which is really reeling under pressure, to a better state. The other big issue which has also plagued the industry, again it impacts the bottom line, is that the SIM cards which are sold by the telcos, they are sold throughout the distribution network. And typically, a telco would give a discount to a distributor, sell the SIM card at a discount to a distributor, and then it will be sold through the chain through a sub-distributor and retailer. Now, the tax department believes that the discount which is given by the telco to a distributor, this is in the nature of a commission. And if it is the nature of a commission, because they construe the distributor more like an agent, not as a principal. And if you construe him as an agent, then the benefit that he is getting on the margin is a commission, and therefore again subject to withholding tax. Now here again the distributors and resellers are spread throughout the length and breadth of the country. And if you construe this as a commission, he would not bear the burden of withholding tax, meaning again it is to be borne by the telco.
So would this also apply if I were to recharge my phone through, say, Paytm? Does Paytm then become a reseller or an agent, or how does that work?
If the Paytm is registered as an authorized distributor or reseller of the SIM card through which you can do a recharge online, then and Paytm would have an agreement with a telco to get the recharge of the coupon, RCV, etc. at a discount, because then they would get at a discount and pass on some bit of a discount to you. The question which comes is that if the MRP is 100 and you have given it to the distributor at 95, maybe a Paytm or any other distributor, the 5 rupee benefit or the discount, whether it's a discount or a commission, if it's a discount, that's not subject to withholding. But if it's a commission, then it's subject to withholding tax of 10%. Now, we know that this matter is sub judice before the Supreme Court, and therefore, what we expect is in the budget, if the government does not want to give up on this issue because that's sub judice, at least the withholding tax rate, if that can be brought down from currently it is 10% to around 1%. So you keep the issue alive, but you give a relief to the telco by reducing the withholding tax rate. So I think these are the two big issues which have been impacting the telco industry and which directly impacts the bottom line and which can give a relief. The other issue which I find is that last year's Finance Act brought in a concept of thin capitalization, in the sense that if a company is heavily leveraged compared to the capital infusion, then the interest deduction is allowed only up to 30% of EBITDA, and of course there are other conditions which apply. Now this sector is highly leveraged. If you look at any sector other than infrastructure or banking or insurance, this is one sector where you find huge debt. I think the estimate is that the debt could be running into maybe more than 1 lakh of crores, or maybe more. And then on one hand, the industry is finding it difficult to service the debt and the interest. And then you put a cap to say that we will allow you a tax deduction for the interest only up to a certain amount.
So can they carry forward this?
They can carry forward, but again, the point is that if you give him an immediate relief, like for instance for banking and insurance, they have given a relief to say that the thin capitalization rule section would not apply to banking insurance. So they can extend that to the telco sector, and maybe there can be a period. They can say we will give the relief is for a period of 5 years, just to say that the telco, the industry comes out of the current rut that it is. And then there are some other issues also where, like for example, because of the consolidation which is happening, or which is in the last 1 year, it has an impact on the telecom equipment suppliers, because earlier you had 9 or 10 telcos and now you'll be reduced to 3. So because of the consolidation, so equipment suppliers, the tower companies, they will be impacted, and therefore there has to be some relief to them as well. For instance, for tower companies, the government is very keen to say that you should now install green towers. Now that also requires investment. If it requires investment, could you consider them in the category which is eligible for a tax relief, maybe as an infrastructure sector, so that there is a tax holiday, some incentivization. So I think these are 2 or 3 immediate things which, to my mind, is not something which the government cannot do, and which also keeps alive the technical issues if they want to, but still give a relief to a sector which is reeling under debt and the other aspects.
So are there any tax issues that can hold back this activity of consolidation that's happening right now? So for instance, the Aircel-Arcom merger was called off due to some legal reasons. Were there any tax reasons a part of that?
Not really, in the sense that the merger was called off because of commercial reasons, right, and not because of tax reasons. And if there is a consolidation of a telco, subject to the laws which are there on carry forward of losses or depreciation, so they are there in place. But yes, it does happen in certain situations where one is not able to take the benefit of those particular tax relief provisions. And so therefore, as an amelioration to the sector, the government could come up with certain schemes for the particular sector, that even if you're not falling under those tax relief benefit sections, which are pursuant to a merger or demerger because of various reasons, then there is another relief which is available, so that for a person who's getting the telco in, who is the amalgamated company, he also gets a benefit that, okay, now there is somebody who's merging into me and I am taking the burden on because it would have the employees and debt and everything. Then there is a tax relief there. But by and large, the tax relief, whatever the provisions are there in the Income Tax Act, are available in that case.
Thank you so much, Sandeep.
Thank you so much.
Clearly, the telecom sector needs some good and simple tax for the sector itself. Thank you.
Thank you.